I will now recognize Honorable Sauls.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair. Greetings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Moinke Ahuniki. The Justice and Constitutional Development Vote 25 allocation increases by 3% when compared to the 2024-2025. With such a high unemployment rate, we find it disappointing that the National Prosecuting Authority has 1,098 vacant posts as at 31st January 2025. Nee, Vader, skrik toch alles het wakker, mense soek span nie beter. The Department's Strategic Plan 2025 to 2030 includes 9 outcome statements. I want to zoom into 3. Outcome 7, fighting crime and corruption through prosecution. We support the budget, hoping that outcome 7 will be achieved when we think of the selfless life of Detective Clint Skippers from Makassar, Cape Town, who, like a real-life hero, risked his life in a shootout with 12 cash-in-transit criminals. One died, and because of him, the rest was arrested, but he walked away with 5 bullets in his back. He didn't just take a bullet for his country, he took 5 and still walks around with 2 in his back. And now, how does the justice system thank him? Instead of a promotion or a medal or even a payout, no. He rather has to pray for a way out. After he protected his family against the house-breaking attempt, a case of self-defense was changed to murder after a year. In this justice system of ours, such a hero gets arrested, thrown in jail with hardened criminals he gave 16 years of his life to arresting. We support this budget so that outcome 7 must be achieved to deal with the corruption in the system against many like Detective Clint Skippers. If not, then we cannot help but wonder, is this justice? The Justice Department received an allocation of 25.4 billion, including direct charge for magistrate salaries of 2.6 billion. We are making sure magistrates' salaries are secured, yet magistrates like Judge Morolong in Kimberley today gave an illegal immigrant who murdered 3 South African young people, Opile Jonas, Michaela Boysen, and Calvino Matthews, a mere 5 years, running concurrently with 2 years suspended. Hurreal, we must ask, is this justice? Outcome 8, apartheid-era justice-related legislation reviewed and replaced. And as it relates to constitutional development, the apartheid racial classification of Khoi, San, colored, Indian, and one segment of white South Africans being legislatively considered black in general, but not African in particular, must be reviewed and totally erased. Otherwise, we must ask again, is this justice or just ice in a glass of expensive whiskey enjoyed by the deep state when they say cheers to a corrupt system they alone benefit from? PA supports. Munib Baizani, Minister. Salute.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I will now recognize Honorable Jana.
House Chairperson, the importance of this department, its mandate, its entities, and their respective mandates cannot be overemphasized. This department and its entities play a pivotal role in ensuring the stability of our democracy. To quote the report of the Portfolio Committee, an efficient justice system is crucial to a functioning democracy as it upholds the rule of law, protects individual rights, and ensures fair and equal justice for all citizens. Sadly, we're not there yet. And Chairperson, I say yet, because this goal is attainable if the necessary will, political and otherwise, means, management and cooperation across the department's entities, as well as other departments, is leveraged toward the goal of realizing an effective justice system. But first, we have to start with the basics. Basics such as indicators from the strategic objectives that emanate from the medium-term development plan that have been omitted from the department's APP, as identified by the Auditor General. These include very important aspects, such as whistleblower protection legislation to be introduced in Parliament, and to report on the review of South Africa's anti-corruption architecture as implemented, as well as the annual report on the implementation of the Child Justice Act to be submitted to Parliament by the target date, the annual report on the implementation of the Criminal Law Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act, submitted to Parliament by the target date, and the percentage reduction in the criminal case backlog on the court roll. Reports, however, can be rectified much easier than the large-scale challenges our justice system and this department has to face. Funding constraints have always been a problem and continue to be. Dilapidated court infrastructure is another seemingly insurmountable interdepartmental challenge that significantly contributes to the breakdown in access to justice. The reduction in the allocation for the department's capital work program, therefore, is especially worrying, and the performance of the Department of Public Works in turn is lamentable, to say the very least. Dit en verskeie ander faktore soos 'n tekort aan die nodige toerusting, tolkdienste, personeel, voorsittende beamptes en ander hulpbronne het 'n domino-effek op die ganse regstelsel. Dit gee aanleiding tot oorbevolking in ons tronke, waar verhoorafwagtendes direk verantwoordelik is vir die tekort aan beddens in ons korrektiewe diens en in ons korrektiewe fasiliteite, verskoning. En verskeie howe kan 'n mens vir die aanhoor van siviele sake eers 'n datum in 2031 kry, om maar enkele voorbeelde te noem. Om nie eers van die toestande by die meesterskantore te praat nie. Our Chapter 9 institutions are underfunded, undercapacitated and overburdened. And institutions such as the Human Rights Commission have their own specific internal challenges to deal with on top of that. Many have lamented the NPA and the failure to give effect to SIU findings and the slow pace in Zondo prosecutions. Most of these remarks, not all of them, should be taken seriously. But first and foremost, the way of working in silos should be addressed with urgency. The effect of failure within one part of the justice system is not felt in silo, it is felt across the spectrum. Greater cooperation and coordination within the JCPS cluster and across government are needed to ensure accountability and an entire justice system that truly contributes to our democracy. It's been said many times, and I will say it again, because it's even more true in the context of the South African justice system. Here, justice delayed is indeed justice denied, because it is within the control of the powers that be to change the status quo. Not doing so is an injustice to all. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. I'll now recognize Honourable Cholip.
House Chairperson, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development that allowed the disbandment of the Directorate of Special Operations, the Scorpions, to protect senior government individuals and led to their incorporation into the SAPS and called the emasculated Scorpions the Hawks should be ashamed. Action SA has long advocated for the establishment of specialized corruption courts to fast-track the prosecution and conviction of corruption cases. The urgency has never been more clear, especially in light of the expose by Commissioner Mkhwanazi. The Zondo Commission recommended over 1,400 individuals, companies and government entities to be investigated for their roles in state capture. In a written reply to Action SA, the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation said only 200 recommendations have been prosecuted or prioritized. These have led to just 12 court cases, addressing only 38 of the 1,400 recommendations, a mere 2.7%. If this department and this GNU has no appetite to prosecute these cases, we do. If I can adapt and borrow from the words of William Shakespeare and Julius Caesar and say, I have not come here to praise the NPA. I've come here to expose it. The NPA has failed with the Zizi Kodwa case. The NPA collapsed the Estina Dairy case. The NPA botched the Cholota extradition in the 255 million rand asbestos case involving Ace Magashule. And they did that in spite of the fact that there was a recent Constitutional Court ruling in the Schultz matter 2 months before the extradition, where it made it clear that the minister had to authorize extradition. When the NPA were asked, did they discuss that? They said, yes, we did, but our lawyers weren't present. Aren't you all supposed to be lawyers? The Bushiri saga, also botched. He's at large 5 years later, entertaining the former SG of MKP and now president of Maibuye as a hero in Malawi. The Timothy Omotoso case, after 8 years, botched, released. The prosecutor that botched it, what has he done? He's been assigned to the Forte case, where people have been murdered, assassinated, corruption, racketeering. Not serious. Action SA will soon introduce the Zero Tolerance Corruption Bill to break the cycle of impunity in this parliament, with mandatory minimum sentences for corruption, permanent bans for political office bearers, and convicted individuals. In China today, a civil servant, a public official, a former public official, Mr. Wang Yong, was sentenced to death for accepting a 38 million rand bribe. Serious China, malunga bantu bahwapilizai. But we're not serious in this country. If we were, many people who are making laws in this parliament wouldn't be here today. If we took this seriously and adequately funded the criminal justice system, maintained our court infrastructure, paid judicial, magisterial and prosecutorial staff appropriately, we would have more prosecutions and less corrupt criminal members of parliament and the executive running our country. Action SA cannot support this budget until criminal legislators and members of this executive and in the ranks of the opposition are put behind bars. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Trollip. Is the speaker from the UDM here? No. The speaker from Rise, Honorable Ghana. Thank you.
Hey, and Katal no Guazana, ne? MK. Hi. Nakensam Tramashtul. Honorable members, fellow South Africans. There is that famous saying that says that justice delayed is justice denied. And today, too many South Africans are denied justice because the wheels of justice are grinding far too slowly. This department is meant to be the center of justice for victims of violent crime, for communities plagued by corruption, and for the many ordinary South Africans seeking fairness and accountability. But what we see is a system that is buckling under pressure and at times paralyzed. Take the Senzo Meyiwe trial, a national tragedy that has dragged on for years with no end in sight. Televised court proceedings might inform the public, but when they contribute to procedural delays, we must reassess their value. Justice is not a performance, it is a right. We do acknowledge, as Rise Mzansi, we acknowledge that the budget is inadequate for the volume of cases enrolled. But we also believe that the department can do much better. Too many prosecutors in lower courts are overwhelmed, under-resourced, and some, and we need to be honest, they are corrupt. They accept bribes to oppose or not to oppose bail. The result? People who should be behind bars are out on the streets, and those who should be free remain behind bars. Some because they can't afford bail as low as 500 rands. This cannot be justice, and this cannot be acceptable. Honorable members, this budget must prioritize the efficiency and integrity of the justice system. That starts with a well-trained, well-supported, and honest prosecutors. Those who are unwilling to serve with integrity should be shown the door. And last week, Honorable Groenewald, Minister, wanted to open the door that was closed, and he wanted us to discuss corporal punishment. And as Rise Mzansi, we reject the return of corporal punishment. It is regressive and unconstitutional. Instead, let us promote community services and alternative centers to petty crimes. This will include cleaning public spaces, maintaining schools and cemeteries. We need to free up space in our overcrowded prisons and restore dignity to our justice system. And finally, Chairperson, we must move with urgency to protect whistleblowers. As long as billions are looted and whistleblowers are left exposed and in fear, the rot will continue. Justice must not only be done,
Thank you,
it must be seen to be
Your
done.
time has expired.
Thank
Thank you very much. The next speaker will be from Bosa, Honorable Maimane.
I think all of us as South Africans have been treated quite extensively by the revelations that General Mkhwanazi raises. The old dictum that says innocent until proven guilty. I want to, in this instance, make it clear that we believe General Mkhwanazi until he's been proven to be dishonest. And that requires a process of thorough investigation. What General Mkhwanazi is stating is the feeling that we all have. That the fact of the matter is that your probability of finding a conviction after having convicted a murder is 1 in 5. For rape, that number becomes even less. This is something that is deeply worrying. General Mkhwanazi confirms for all of us what we've all felt, that state capture has not quite stopped. That it is something that is continuing and we all feel it in our day-to-day lived experiences. General Mkhwanazi tells us that we are fast shifting away from the rule of law to the rule of man. The idea that political decisions trump, in fact, what should happen in terms of the rule of law. Honorable members, it is time for us to be deliberate and act now. We will soon be asked to declare the state capture report as wasteful and fruitless expenditure until we soon see prosecutions that must take place. So, Honorable Minister, I have a number of points I want to raise with you. In February, your ministry committed to making the National Register of Sex Offenders public. We have to see progress in this. Because in truth, for our teachers, only 7% of the nearly 500,000 educators have been screened against this. I take my kids to school. I'm sure honorable members do the same. We can't put them at such risk. For police, as of now, only 245 SAPS personnel have faced scrutiny in this regard. This is a significant risk in a country that is facing such a chronic issue of violence. Honorable Minister, you promised the whistleblowers protection and legislative reform. I'm sure we can come here today and we've got to make a commitment to expedite that issue. Because more people take their lives to risk to tell us what is going on. They need protection and they need protection from you. So I welcome the decision by Parliament to put together an investigation. The last point I want to make, Minister, is that as the end of the term of the current National Director of Public Prosecutions, let us codify into law the appointment of the next, begin now, and make sure we get a candidate who will replace Advocate Matoy. Justice cannot be allowed to be subjected to the rule of men. So let's make sure we act now, fund properly, and deliver a justice system that works for all citizens.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The final speaker for the debate will be the Honourable Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, House Chairperson. Let me appreciate the inputs. Though some of the members might not have supported our budget, but issues that they've raised are what concern South Africans, and we'll take them on. Let me start firstly around the issues that have been raised, and thank you, Honourable Matafa, just to flag that. I think as the portfolio, we avail ourselves to the joint committee that has been established by the Speaker to deal with issues that have been raised by General Mkhwanazi. We will avail ourselves to be able to be facing the scrutiny. I think we must applaud the Speaker for that swift process, but also We are awaiting to be able to be guided by the head of state, who said he will be dealing with this matter, and will leave it at that. Second issue that I want to deal with, Honorable Member, is dealing with the performance of NPA. Factually, this is what is happening in terms of the issues of the Zondo Commission. Of the cases, 82 recommendations comprising of 20 cases are still under investigations. 23 recommendations comprising of 9 cases are before courts. 4 recommendations comprises of 2 cases have been finalized. 11 recommendations comprising of 5 cases are under consideration for authorization within the system. IDEC decided not to prosecute 1 case involving 1 recommendation. IDEC also went beyond the recommendation and looked at specific areas where there were no specific recommendation. Out of this, 57 cases have been identified out of the report. 28 cases are before court, 23 under investigations, and 6 are being considered for authorization. It's not correct to say that no work has been done on the state capture investigations. Work continues. Again, what has been progress and important progress that I highlighted in my speech was the work that is done by Asset Forfeiture Unit, the companies that have been involved in state capture who are made to pay back the money. Building investment confidence is important, and that's why fighting crime and corruption does have a role, because investors look at one of the areas around our ability to be able to fight crime and corruption, and that's why we remain committed. You'd note, honorable members, that we have announced that in the portfolio we will be embarking on lifestyle audit across. In state attorneys, all of them, starting from the bottom to the top. In prosecutors, all of them, we're starting with senior management. In master's office, all of them. In legal aid, that work has started and I've received the report. And all of them, including the department, all of them are submitting, all entities are submitting quarterly reports in terms of progress so that I can look at how far they are going and what is happening. So the first reports have come and I do write to them to say I need the first report. So we will continue with this. Where I must acknowledge, honorable members, our work around whistleblowing protection intervention in the country is not sufficient, that I must say. We've acknowledged this, and that's why the president announced that we will be doing the review, and the work that has started by SIU will enhance. It is not correct to see in the news, to hear families losing loved ones who have been committed as public servants. In the portfolio, we have intervened to say we want ethical and capable employees. I have upfront said to the team, we will do everything in our powers to ensure that we build that. And we do believe that it is possible, it is capable, because those who serve the state and those who decide to join public service must know it's about serving, it's not about lavish lifestyle and better things. And we've said that those who want to own Ferraris with no trust funds from their parents means they can't be in state, because otherwise they'll end up doing wrong things. We have dismissed officials since I've been here, literally. Almost every week we are dismissing more than 10 officials in the justice portfolio, because we are ensuring that there are we're operating with no tolerance in terms of ensuring that people can do right. If somebody has taken money fraud, irrespective of 1,000, we are dismissing them. That I can assure you. Those officials who are maintenance officers, who are redirecting money out of the accounts of children to themselves, we've dismissed them and will continue to dismiss them. This is an ethical drive that we are driving in the portfolio, and we do believe that it will change the situation. Honorable members, on the issue of amendment of the Constitution and the budget structure, those powers lies with you. The issue that I want to speak to as I conclude is the GBVF. We need all society to be involved, fight the scourge. What Honorable Breitenberg has said about a 102-year-old woman being raped and killed, but a toddler, less than a year, being raped. This can't continue in our country. It just says something about us as a society, I don't know whether we need prayers or we need ancestors, but something has to give because we can't continue like this. It's not just about justice, it's about prevention. Because once they are raped, they can't recover. We come at the end. We come to ensure that the court can give sentences. But that child who's been raped is destroyed for life. That child who has been molested is destroyed for life. And that's why we are calling NGOs, churches, everybody, let's work together to stop GBV. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Thank you to all those who debated today. And that concludes the debate and this business of the mini plenary session. The mini plenary will now rise.